Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our first look at the new, somewhat legendary tier destroyer, the Halland. So without further ado, let's get to the commander. We're running Jersey Swirsky with Eric Bay and Space Fishy. Now this is a meme build. I'm going to go ahead and preface everything for that. This is a meme build. You might want to run William Sims or something out here to give you a little bit of extra HP instead of Space Fishy, okay? But contact is imminent. Look at me now. Perceptive and Cloudy Days. And we are also running Unstoppable, okay? Our build, we are running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We ended up swapping out from the gameplay that you'll see to this. I swapped out for Steering Gears Mod 2 here. I had propulsion mod on in the video that you'll see, and you'll see why that I switched it. Anyway, we've got concealment system mod, and we have the torpedo launchers mod 3, but the epic version, which allows us for every 30,000 damage to get a slight buff to our torpedo reload. Okay. For the loadout, we don't have any options here, so we get what we got. So 2 engine boosts, 2 repair parties, 2 defensive AA. We are running the Epic Battle Booster for a little bit extra speed, extra range, and a little bit faster cooldown on consumables. We're running the Italian Unity flag because if you squint just right, it kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. And then we're running the like historic camo for this thing, just because it kind of looks cool. For the specs, we are running 19,200 hit points, and that's why I say that you may want to bring William Sims along instead of Space Fishy to get a little bit more hit points, which should bring you up to around 22,000 some odd hit points. Okay. Artillery, we have the 120mm 50 caliber model 1950s. You get 4 of those, reaching out to 11.3 kilometers with this build, reloading in just 2 seconds, and firing. Well, you have 180-degree turn time of 7.2 seconds, which is not great, if I'm being honest. But maximum shells for the HE is 1750 with an 8% chance to set fires. Maximum AP shell damage is 2100. For torpedoes, you get 533mm quintuple launchers. You get 2 of those, so you get 10 torps in total. Reload time starting out at just 85 seconds, and that goes down with every 30,000 damage you do. The maximum damage, though, not very good. 10,700. It's actually pretty awful for the tier. Torpedo detectability is also awful at 1.8. So why are these such low-hitting, high-visibility torpedoes? Simple. They go 15 kilometers, which isn't that big of a deal at Legendary tier, but they do it at 94 knots. That's the meme here. We've built this thing for torpedo speed. We have these torps screaming across the ocean at 94 knots. Pretty sure the astronauts on the space station could see these torps coming. But the problem is, you can't do anything about it. Just because you can see the torps doesn't mean you're getting out of the way of these things doing 94 knots. Put it into perspective, a lot of the torpedoes that you're going to run into at Legendary tier are doing just 65 knots. Think about that. These are actually hilarious to watch people run into. AA damage, we've got 40mm 70 caliber Bofors M1948. You get 6 of those doing 157 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. 57mm 60 caliber SAC model 1950s. You get 2 of those doing 50 damage per second, reaching out to 4 kilometers. Then you got the dual purpose main guns of the 120mm 50 caliber model 1950s. You get 4 of those doing 122 damage per second, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers. So pretty solid AA, as you'd expect. Maximum speed 36 knots, so not the fastest destroyer in the world. Turning circles, not great, not terrible, but not great. So I'd say average at 660 meters. And the rudder shift with the steering gears is 3.4. If you go for propulsion mod instead, it's going to be 4.3, which doesn't sound terrible until you try to dodge a torpedo, in which case you will find out that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to do something about the steering in this thing. Detectability by sea is 5.2. Detectability by air is 3 kilometers. Detectability after firing your main guns is 5.4 kilometers, which is actually kind of crazy. And then the guaranteed detectability range is 2 kilometers with a detectability in firing and smoke of 2.5. Of course, you don't have smoke, so it doesn't really matter. Stats-wise, it's not the most remarkable, but 50% win rate, mainly because I've been caught a couple times, plus I haven't had the best teams. But overall, I love this ship. It's a lot of fun. It is a meme ship. Main gun accuracy, 51%. The main guns are kind of troll, especially when you're fighting somebody that's only like 2 kilometers away in a destroyer. If they sit low in the water, it can actually be a bit of a pain to actually hit them with these two turrets. They have some of the worst dispersion on a destroyer I've ever seen. But torpedo accuracy is also 22%, which is really high for me. I think normally I'm around 7% torp accuracy, so huge ups there. But the average results per battle is pretty unremarkable, 97,000 average damage. But the XP is pretty good, 2,132. So you can see that this thing does its job. It goes around, captures bases, gets rid of destroyers, and lands a lot of torpedoes often. Armor, you don't have armor, and you set very high out of the water, making this thing a ideal target for anything that's shooting HE at you. You will get pinned, you will be dealt ridiculous amounts of damage, which is why you may want to swap Space Fishy instead of going for full meme build. Swap Space Fishy for maybe William Sims, something like that. But yeah, you have no armor. This isn't the Kaaba. You're going to get pinned by HE everywhere, so keep that in mind. Overview, fast torpedoes, we already talked about that. They're probably the fastest, I believe. Rapid reload, I can't think of anything else that would have faster torps. Rapid reload, so the torps reload fast, and it has a heal. Halland, the largest and most powerful destroyers in the Swedish Navy. Their main advantages were powerful AA defenses and extremely rapid-firing main battery artillery. She entered service in 1955, and there were 2 of them in the series. As for the overall look of the ship, I mean, you could tell it's post-World War II. It looks pretty solid. It really does. Like, I actually don't hate this ship. I wish it didn't sit so high out of the water, but, you know, is what it is. It's going to happen. But, dude, is this just me, or does it look like the frame rate is just tanking right now? I apologize. Hopefully this is just me. But overall, she's a good-looking ship. She performs pretty solid, and she's a lot of fun. And she's got anti-submarine launchers on the front, so you gotta love that as well. And with that, let's get to the gameplay. Alright, so we're gonna be on Tears of the Desert in this one. And we're gonna be in the Halland, and we are going to be extremely aggressive, as you'd expect. Alright, this is a 3-destroyer versus 3-destroyer. 2 of the destroyers are potentially capable of gunning us down very quickly. So it's going to be a game where we're going to have to be a little bit tactful, but at the same time, I'm going to showcase the best aspects of this ship that I can, and also some of the worst. So we're going to get straight into it. We're going to go straight into the center of the map, try to spot as early as possible. We got a destroyer spawned on each side of the map, so if everybody does what they're supposed to do, we'll have a destroyer spotting for the right, a destroyer spotting for the left, and me spotting up the middle. This is like an ideal scenario for my team, right? So what I want to do is just go full speed ahead, right out the gate, get as close to the enemy as possible, as early as possible, spot these battleships that you know are going to spawn in the middle as they're making their broadside turn. Give your team the chance to take advantage of those broadsides. This is something I mention all the time. As a battleship captain, it's extremely frustrating because you know where the enemy spawns. You know that they're there, and you know they're making these turns early in the match. So getting the turns, or getting a destroyer to spot for you early in the game, catching these battleships broadside, can be the difference between winning and losing a match. Because we all know how hard it can be sometimes to kill battleships. When it comes down to, like, survivability, that's what they're built for. They have all the hit points, all the armor. They have the big guns. So, like, trying to get rid of a battleship early by, or at least getting them spotted like this, where they're in that turn. Look, there's a broadside Kerfurt, broadside Montana. My team is having a field day right now, getting to shoot at all these guys. Or at least they should be, anyway. I can't make up for their ineptitude at gunnery, but all I can do is give them the best opportunity I can. Now here, we're going to showcase the strengths of this ship and the funny thing about these torpedoes. Remember, these are doing 94 knots. We know that the Sumner, or we didn't know it was the Sumner, but we knew there was a destroyer here, so we're already in position to go ahead and shoot. Watch the dispersion on these shells. So far, so good. We're trying to hit high, but you can see the Sumner's a small target. It's actually difficult to land on target, but this Sumner, he is not wanting to be in a gunfight. And this is one of those things where you gotta recognize that they don't want to be in a gunfight. I don't know why a gunboat wouldn't want to be in a gunfight, but hey, I'm down for it. So if he's going to be a little turd and try to hide, I'm going to double back and get back into a fight with him. Now here you can see I'm measuring up the battleships. Look how fast these have closed that distance. These guys are 14 kilometers away. He turned away and he turned back into the path of these torps. Now, this is one of those situations where he actually, my torpedo speed kind of bit me in the butt because my torpedoes outran his ability to get to the torpedoes. If I had a little bit slower torpedoes, maybe he wasn't running space fishy, his turn that he made to go back in front of those, he would have ate a lot more torps there. But we did get 2 hits, and we have a permaflood going on right now, so that's huge. But once again, we double back, we catch the Sumner, and once again, this Sumner is like not interested in a gunfight. He goes to his guns as a last resort, which is mind-boggling to me, because you can see he's scoring a lot of damage on us compared to what we're capable of doing to him. Like, we are just not getting the damage out of these shells, and then you can see some of the awful dispersion that we're getting here. If he had just buckled down and decided, okay, gunfight is here, like, he probably would have won this gunfight. But he decided, hey, I'm gonna be a little turd and try to run away, and so we get the advantage, and I'm not gonna let him get away with it this time. So, unfortunately, Ashima manages to take down our Yugamo, which is real bad for our team. But that gives us an idea who's on my left, right? So we're gonna push forward and try to get rid of this Sumner. He's a very dangerous ship, we know that, so we want to get rid of him, and we do in fact catch him. Now here we got him off the bow, so we're going to go ahead and shoot him, and you can see 1 shell hits the water, those 2 shells manage to hit, but we're only doing 200 damage a shot. But here you can see he launches torps, and we're struggling to get turned in, but we had to outrun the initial volley, but we were able to squeeze in there, no problem. Now here is the funny thing, we're spotted. Why are we spotted? Like there's got to be a destroyer nearby, right? Because nobody's in our range of being detected, except they are. They were absolutely inside our range. It did say, like, detection after firing the guns is only 5.2 kilometers, but clearly, just like everything else, the detection of your ship after firing your guns is whatever your maximum range is. But anyway. So here, we're going to start measuring up the Montana. Montana is a long ways away, probably saw me just kill the destroyer. He's not expecting us to send torpedoes. He takes a lot of damage while sitting out there broadside, so I'm expecting him to turn towards us a little bit. And look at the speed on these torps, man. They've already covered half the distance to the enemy. Like, that's crazy. And this is the problem with these little European destroyers, man. Just those torps. You do not expect them to be coming at you as fast as they do. They have long-range screamer torps, which is something that you didn't get out of the Udachi. But look at this thing. Look at him. He's going to eat all of those. Now watch. They don't really do any damage, but that adds up. Like, they may not be doing all the damage, but by God, it adds up when you land 5 out of the 10. Okay? So just because they don't do a whole lot of damage, if you're landing as many torps as you can land on this thing, I'm telling you, it'll add up. Now here you can see, I know that there's somebody else out here. It's not just the Montana, but the Montana is my primary target at this moment. I know that the Shima's here, so I want to be ready, but I also want to be able to take down this Montana. And you can see, because of the damage we're getting, our torpedoes are starting to reload a lot faster. Remember, the torpedoes have such a long reload. They're short reload for torpedoes, but I'm saying torpedoes in general have a long reload. So any buff that you get that takes away a percentage, takes away a good chunk of your reload. Okay, so every boost that we get from this epic booster is going to make a pretty big difference. So as you can see, we're already at like a 1:16 reload on our torpedoes, and that's with 2 procs. Okay, so as we get a little bit closer, you can expect this. If each proc is about 2 seconds, by the time you get, that's essentially 10 seconds off of your reload. if you're up to 150,000 damage. Okay, so here we set up an absolute beautiful torp strike on this Montana, and I mean, come on, dude. Like, he doesn't even see it coming. There's no way for him to get out of the way. Like, once you see these torps, it's too late. You're gonna eat them all. Now, he does manage to get away. He has a torp, or he has a damage con. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I can be targeted by everybody. There's already 2 Montanas here that are really upset with me. So the last thing I want to do is give them both a chance to shoot me. So you can see I'm trying to place myself on the island initially, and then I'm going to double back. You can see I am located, so I know the destroyers are potentially coming. The closest person to me is on my right. But I see the Montana fire his guns, and I pounce, right? Like, I'm a little panther over here. As soon as he fires his guns, we pounce on that. It's got a decent fire chance, so you know you're going to get the fire. You get the perma fire. That should finish him off, but instead of letting the fire do it, I'm just going to keep shooting him until he goes down. Now, he goes down. He's no longer spotting us. The Shima, or the Daring, sorry. The Daring comes back to us. So now we know that the Daring is going to probably win this gunfight. He's actually using AP as well, which is really smart on his part. He's going to do quite a bit of damage to us, but you can see we're capable of doing damage to him as well. And all we have to do if he's firing AP is angle away from him. He's not going to pin us. So, as we get away, he dumps his smoke, get out of jail free card, that sort of thing. We're going to circle back. We know that there's a battleship on our left. We know there's a destroyer on our left. And we're going to drop some torps in the direction of the Daring as he's trying to capture the base. We're going to use Perceptive for that, remember? So he's not actually in his smoke anymore. You're going to see that he does end up coming out of the smoke, unfortunately. So that's why we didn't lead into the smoke. But we placed the torps out there hoping to catch him off guard. And then we go hunting the rest of them. You can see I'm going straight for what I'm hoping is the Shimakaze. He's going to be coming from this this Charlie cap, but you're going to see I do spot the Lepanto here as he comes around the backside of the island. So at least we know it's not the Lepanto that we're pointing at. So the Shima's here. So we use the island to get away from the Lepanto so he can't help his Shima buddy. And here, this could have been a disaster, I'll be real honest. We catch the Shima with his pants down. He has no opportunity to really do much of anything. By the time he reacts to try to get his torps off, the man's dead already, right? But I always assume that they get their torps off. So I'm going to beach myself into the island as tight as I can, hoping for the best. And I'm a little hesitant to reverse initially because I wanted to make sure that there wasn't torps. And as soon as I'm pretty happy that no torps were coming, I go ahead and reverse. And then we get ready to go after the enemy Daring. Now, this is where I actually get myself into a little bit of trouble. We've done our job. We've taken out 2 of the 3 destroyers. We've taken out a Montana as well. So we have done everything. Plus, we've captured a base solo. So we know we've done everything in our power to give our team the best chance to win here. But I'm not done yet. I want to try to get a hold of the Lepanto. I'm going to try to get a hold of the Daring. Now here, I know the Lepanto is trying to come around the island. You can see that using the Perceptive. It's pointing further and further towards the island. So I know it's just a matter of time before he gets spotted. I'm running away from his location. I don't want to get spotted by a Lepanto at close range. I only have 9,500 hit points. Now here, I'm thinking, okay, there's a good chance he slows down here, but these torps are so fast that I'm thinking, even if he does slow down, we're still going to catch him with a couple. And he doesn't have a lot of hit points, so there's a good chance we just finish him off. But he actually does the right thing. He just beaches himself on the island. So we completely whip those torpedoes. And as we chase down this enemy Daring, he actually does the right thing as well. We know that he's likely to try to torp us here. We're not dumb. Like, I know torps are coming, so I'm trying to stay close to the island. He hits me one time, gets a freaking double fire. Like, really? That's just the Daring for you. But I'm trying to stay as close to the island as possible. He gets a good torp initially, and then I try to dodge, and it just does not come back. Like, I'm so used to, like, the American destroyers. Like, the American destroyers, like, agility is insane. So I would have been able to dodge that easily if I was in the Gearing or the Sumner. But, yeah. This thing just does not have that quick rudder shift. So you may want to go double rudder. I would recommend it, though. Having that concealment to get up close and personal is huge. Because these torpedoes, once you put them on target, like, unless they anticipate it, they're just going to eat all the torps. Like, these torps are so funny. They don't do a lot of damage, but they stack up. But 133k, and we got 3,400 base XP. That's called doing your job, folks. 11 torpedo hits. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that the Meme build is better, or do you guys have a better build for the Halland? And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.